The rain was freezing. I was on my knees, soaking wet, clutching my 3-hour-old baby against my chest. And Jang Chun-sik, the Korean Mafia boss, the father of my child, just turned his back on me. He didn't look back. Didn't hesitate. His black car pulled up. Door opened. He slid inside like I was invisible. "Wait!" I screamed. But my voice cracked, broke, got swallowed by the storm. The car door slammed shut, and I watched the taillights disappear into the rain. My body was still bleeding, still recovering. I could barely stand, but I had to, because my baby was crying, and no one was coming. I looked down at my child, rain dripping onto that tiny face, and I realized something that made my chest cave in. He didn't just leave us. He wanted us gone. If you've ever been abandoned when you needed someone most, don't leave, because what he didn't see that day changed everything. 3 hours before he kicked me out, I thought he came because he cared. I was lying in that hospital bed, exhausted, broken, still shaking from labour. And then the door opened. Jang Chun-sik walked in. No flowers, no smile, no warmth, just cold presence. He didn't ask if I was okay, didn't hold the baby, didn't even step close. He just stood there at the foot of my bed, staring. Like he was confirming something. "You came?" I whispered. His jaw tightened. "I told you not to make this complicated." "Complicated? I just gave birth to his child." But the way he looked at my baby, it wasn't doubt. It was rejection. And then he said the words that shattered me. "Whose is it?" I stopped breathing, because in that moment, I understood. He didn't believe me. "Whose is it?" The room went silent. I stared at him, waiting for him to take it back, waiting for him to remember. 6 months ago, the private room, the way he touched me like I was the only woman in the world. The promises, he whispered, but he just stood there, waiting for my answer, like I was a stranger. "You know whose it is," I said quietly. His expression didn't change. "Do I?" That's when I saw it. He wasn't confused. He was performing, like someone was watching. Like this rejection wasn't real, it was necessary. "But why? I've never been with anyone else," I whispered. "Prove it." 2 words. Cold, final, impossible. And that's when he reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. Thick, prepared, like he'd planned this moment before he even walked in. He dropped the envelope on the table beside my bed. It landed with a heavy thud. I didn't touch it. "What is that?" I asked. "Everything you need," he said calmly. "Housing, medical bills, enough to disappear." Disappear. Not start over. Not take care of the baby. Disappear. My hands started shaking. "You think money fixes this?" "I think it ends it." Ends it. Like I was a problem. Like my baby was a mistake. I looked down at my child, still so small, still barely breathing on their own. And I felt something crack inside me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly breaking. "You don't get to decide that," I said. His eyes met mine, and for the first time, there was something there. Not love, not regret. Fear. "You don't understand what you're holding," he said quietly. Then he turned and walked toward the door. "Wait." But he didn't stop. Didn't turn around. Just kept walking. And that's when a nurse came in. Young, nervous. She wouldn't look at me. "Ma'am, you need to leave." "What?" "Hospital policy. You've been discharged." "I gave birth 3 hours ago." "I'm sorry, those are the orders." Orders. Not hospital protocol. Orders. From him. They gave me 10 minutes. Handed me a plastic bag with my wet clothes from earlier. helped me to the door, barely, and then I was outside, in the rain, with my baby. No car, no umbrella, no plan. And that's when I noticed it. Something small, something he didn't see. I pulled the blanket back, slowly, and my breath caught, because staring back at me was the one thing that could destroy him. If you've made it this far, you feel it, don't you? This wasn't rejection. It was something darker. A birthmark. Small, distinct, shaped like a crescent moon. On my baby's wrist. I'd seen it before. On him. Same place, same shape. And it was a mark his people whispered about. Something tied to his bloodline. Something that couldn't be faked. And he walked away without seeing it. Or maybe he refused to see it. I stood there in the rain, staring at my baby's wrist. And suddenly everything made sense. This wasn't about doubt. This was about protection. He didn't reject us because he didn't believe. He rejected us because someone was watching. Someone who would kill this baby the moment they knew the truth. My chest tightened. Because if I was right, then walking away wasn't cruelty. It was survival. And that meant the danger wasn't over. It was just beginning. I didn't go home. I stayed in a motel. Cheap, anonymous, paid in cash from the envelope. I hated using his money, but I had no choice. And then, on the third day, I saw him again. Not at the hospital. Outside my motel. Black cars, quiet men, the kind of presence that made people look away. I froze. My baby was in my arms. He stepped out slowly, expressionless. But he didn't look at me first. He looked at the baby, had that same focused stare, had that same calculation. "You're leaving," he said. Not a question. A command. I swallowed hard. "I don't need your permission." A pause. Then he nodded once. Good. That should have been it. But as I walked past him, his voice stopped me cold. "Don't let anyone see the child's wrist." My heart skipped. I turned slowly. He already knew. I didn't sleep that night, because I finally understood. He wasn't trying to erase us. He was trying to hide us. The mark on my baby's wrist wasn't just a birthmark. It meant something in his world. Something dangerous. And if the wrong people saw it, we were dead. I started noticing things. Small things. A car that stayed parked too long outside. A man on his phone who watched my door. Another who followed me to the corner store. I wasn't paranoid. I was being hunted. And Chunsik knew. That's why he gave me money. That's why he told me to leave. That's why he looked at me like I was already gone. Because in his world, I was. The only question was whether I'd disappear quietly, or whether they'd make me. I called him. I don't know why. Maybe because I was scared. Maybe because I needed to hear him say it. He answered on the first ring. Silence. Then, "You should be gone by now." "I need to know the truth," I said. "You don't." "Yes, I do. What does the mark mean?" A long pause, then quietly, "It means your child isn't just mine." My heart stopped. "What does that mean?" "It means he's the only heir to something people kill for." I couldn't breathe. "And you," I whispered, "what are you in all this?" His voice dropped. "The reason they'll never stop." The line went dead. And I realized he didn't walk away to hurt me. He walked away because staying close to him was a death sentence. He showed up at midnight. No warning, no knock. Just inside my room, holding my baby like he had every right to. I should have screamed, but I didn't. Because the way he looked at my child, it wasn't cold anymore. It was broken. "You're being watched," he said quietly. I figured. His jaw tightened. "Then you know why this can't happen." This, I snap. You mean your child? Silence. Then, they'll kill him. That was the first time I heard it. Not strategy, not calculation. Fear. Real fear. He finally looked at the wrist. Really looked. And everything in him changed. They weren't supposed to see this, he muttered. Who? He didn't answer. Instead, he handed the baby back, like it hurt him. You're coming with me. If you've ever realized someone wasn't leaving you, they were protecting you. Stay with me. His house wasn't a home. It was a fortress. Guards, cameras, silence. Everything designed to keep people out. Or secrets in. I wasn't a guest. I was a liability. But the way he watched me, the way he stayed close but never too close, told a different story. He wasn't just protecting the baby. He was protecting me. And that made everything worse. Because now I had questions. Why was I even in your life? I asked one night. Silence. Then, because you weren't supposed to be. That wasn't an answer. That's not good enough. His jaw tightened. You were never part of the plan. Then why didn't you walk away sooner? A long pause. Then, quietly, I tried. And in those 2 words, I heard everything he wouldn't say. It happened fast. Gunshots, shattered glass, men breaking through like they knew exactly where to go. Not random. Targeted. For my baby. Chun-sik moved before I could think. Pulled me down, shielded us both. And for the first time, he lost control. Not in anger. In terror. His men fought back, hard, efficient. But I saw something in Chun-sik's eyes I'd never seen before. Desperation. After it was over. After the bodies were removed and the glass swept away. He finally spoke. The mark, he said, staring at our child. It means he's not just mine. My heart stopped. What does that mean? His voice dropped to a whisper. It means he's the only heir to the empire I was supposed to destroy. Everything went quiet. And you? He looked at me. I'm the only one keeping him alive. He kept his distance after that. Colder, quieter, like he was rebuilding walls. You should hate me, he said one night. For what? For bringing you into this? I shook my head slowly. No, you brought danger. A pause. But you also stayed. That hit him harder than anything. His jaw clenched. They're going to come again. I know. And next time, I might not be able to stop it. Silence. But I'd already made my decision. I'm not running anymore. His eyes narrowed. You don't understand what that means. I do. A breath. It means I stop being your weakness and become your partner. For the first time, something shifted in his expression. Not love, not relief, respect, and fear, because he knew what I didn't yet. The moment I chose to stay, I became the most dangerous woman in his world. Months passed. I learned his world, his enemies, his rules, his wars. I stopped being the victim and started being the weapon. He trained me, protected me, watched me evolve. And the man who once kicked me into the rain now looked at me like I was the one thing he couldn't afford to lose. They know who you are now, he said one day. I know. And you're not afraid? I looked at him, then at our child, then back. No, I said softly, because now they have to go through me first, for the first time since I met him. He smiled, not soft, not gentle, proud and dangerous, because the woman he tried to erase was the woman who became his equal. They came for us again, but this time I was ready. I stood beside him, not behind. And when his enemies saw me, they hesitated, because I wasn't just the black waitress he discarded. I was the mother of his heir. The woman who survived his rejection, the partner who knew his secrets, and the queen who would burn anyone who touched her child. Chun-sik looked at me across the room, and in that look, I saw everything. Regret, pride, fear, love. He never said it out loud, but he didn't have to, because the man who once asked, "Whose is it?" now stood beside me and dared anyone to question it again. If you made it this far, you didn't just listen, you felt it. Subscribe, because the next story might be darker than this one.